Okay, we are live again. We attempted to take a little break at the end of our last episode, and we ended up ending that episode. So now we have a new one. I'm just bringing up the live stream right now on YouTube, so I can see any comments that pop up there. Okay, rock and roll. That's up. Just to all the people watching out there, if you can subscribe, so that would be down here, please subscribe to our channel to get more content from us. And the subscriptions are a big, vote of approval. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe. Give the video a like. Check out the other series. If you see something you like or there's an interesting clip, leave a comment and let us know. Let us know what kind of stuff is really grabbing you. And if you have any ideas for stuff you'd like to hear us ramble about or discuss in particular, or guests or anything like that, throw that in the comments too. We love hearing that. We recently actually purchased the domain patriotslament.com. So we will have some content up. We'll have a real website up there. We'll start putting the audio files of this stuff up there, get a podcast going. That's all coming in the next few months. And then we have Josh and I both have emails there. So mine is david@patriotslament.com and Josh's is josh@patriotslament.com. So feel free to get in touch with us that way as well.
Joshua
at patriotslament.com. What's your title?
Oh shoot! I was thinking about that today. Executive producer and chief editor. Patriots, man. Yes.
There we go. Perfect. Yes.
But
so then,
and yours, you gotta spill yours because it's the greatest.
Mine, yeah. Let me pull up my my email. I think I am the foreign correspondent, chief economic analysis.
Oh, that's right. We saved the chief for chief economic analyst.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So when you have your own show, you get to make your own titles. You get to do the same thing if you have your own company.
And if you have your own title, you're somebody.
That's right.
You're a person. You're not just a people. You're a person.
You're a person. Yes. All caps and not all caps at the same time.
At the same. Freely do whichever one you want.
That's right.
Depending on who you feel like being subject to at that time.
Exactly. I'm gonna self-promote my meters too. I'm actually this is my engineering lab. I got there's some of my test equipment over there. My company makes high precision meters to measure environmental radio frequency radiation. So this is stuff that comes off your cell phone, stuff that comes off of Wi-Fi hotspots, Bluetooth headsets, all that kind of stuff. So what medical research is finding increasingly is that this stuff interferes with your nervous system. Your nervous system acts like a big antenna that picks this up. And in particular, it disrupts sleep. Like there's very strong evidence that it disrupts sleep because your nervous system goes into a lower energy state when you're asleep. And every time you get hit with a big ping of RF, like when your phone scans to go check the tower for messages, that appears to wake people up a lot. And it's somewhat ironic. A lot of people with sleep apnea are getting fitness trackers like a Fitbit to monitor their sleep. And what do they find every single time? They find that they wake up a bajillion times. Well, they're wearing an RF transmitting device. It's probably causing them to wake up a bunch.
Yes.
Anyway, we make these meters. We make these meters for this company, Safe Living Technologies. They are a fantastic partner. So they kind of told us what they wanted, and then we solved all the technical challenges for that. These are a North American product. I actually make them. We have another office 1 block over from my house here. We manufacture them there. All the engineering's done in-house. These will help you go and measure your environment to see what the readings are like in your house. And it comes with a little manual that tells you what safe readings are and what kind of more disruptive levels are. And then once you find the sources, most of the sources of this stuff you can just unplug or turn off at night. It doesn't really even affect your lifestyle. I keep Wi-Fi on during the day, but right now you can see I'm green. I turn it off at night so I can sleep well. So you identify all the sources, and then if like, let's say your neighbor has a big transmitter, you can buy materials that will actually shield your house. So this Safe Living Technologies, Rob and Brian at Safe Living Tech, they sell shielding fabrics that you can line your curtains with. They sell paint, interior paint that you can put down that actually blocks this stuff really effectively. And then you can quantify the effects of the shielding material with your meter. So it's been a real big lifestyle improvement for a lot of people. Our patent agent's wife actually is getting the best sleep that she's gotten in 10 or 15 years after we sent him a freebie meter to just play with. He did some experiments with it and called me a week later and was like, you won't believe this. And I was like, actually, I will believe it, but I'm super happy for you. So anyway, you can get these if you go to safeandsoundrf.com. That's the website where you can find the meters, or you can go to slt.co, safelivingtechnologies.co, slt.co. That is Rob's business. He's just down the street in Morriston. And you can give him a call on the phone and he'll tell you what you need, or you can shoot him an email or whatever. They're very helpful guys. So there's my pitch for RF detectors.
Yes, that's awesome. And you're not talking about the, tinfoil hat stuff here. This is real deal. This is real stuff.
Yeah, we have one of my new employees is actually she studied neurology. She has a master's degree in neurology, and she is doing a YouTube series on my company's YouTube channel where she's going through medical research that's coming out like right now, like brand new medical research, where the health effects both on sleep and on DNA damage and things like that from non-ionizing RF radiation, like from your cell phone, is being quantified. And generally the safety standards are 15 to 30 years behind the medical research, which was like the case with like asbestos or cigarettes or whatever. And the problem with that is if you're 10 to 15 years late, like you already have cancer at that point. And so we're trying to get out in front of this and treat it as a real thing. And people can do a lot about it. You can basically make your space clean if you're aware of it. So
why don't
it's not some hopeless, it's not, it's not a hopeless thing that you're just at the whims of the government or whatever. You can actually just clean up your space. It's not a big deal.
Would you turn it back on and click your phone on, just show them what it does?
Oh yeah, sure.
It was basically, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and this thing, so there's a screen that gives you the readings, and then there's actually there's a speaker that gives you demodulated audio, so that you can hear a little bit of tapping, and that's like my neighbor's Wi-Fi, but the levels are really low. It's down in that 3 range. So if I turn on, I'm going to turn on my Bluetooth. So you can see how high those readings are. And if this were up to my head, there you go. You got readings, 30,000, 32,000. So now I'm going to turn it off.
39.
30. Yeah. The peak is captured there. 38,100 looks like. And with it off, what are the readings? It's 3 or 4. It's 10,000 times lower readings in the ambient environment. And so anyway, these transmit tremendous amounts of power compared to what your body is used to being exposed to, which is almost none of this stuff. So anyway, that is the short version of this. If you want to, we have a bunch of YouTube videos on how to use the meter. We measured some of those Apple earbuds. We measured a Tesla Model 3, and that YouTube channel is 9013733 Canada Inc. It's the easiest name in the world to remember. If you just
put in the links, put a link in the bottom.
That's a good idea. I will put a link down below. If you look for Safe and Sound Pro on YouTube, it will take you right to the videos that we put up as well.
That's awesome. Thanks. That's cool. It really is cool. It's, what you said really too with the, catching up in 15 years, a little late.
A little
late. Ask the guys that, got to live Agent Orange. It's a little late by the time they figured that out, huh?
And their kids, right? That was the big spina bifida thing. And with the spina bifida kind of epidemic came out of Vietnam because of the Agent Orange thing.
Yeah.
One of the speculations about RF that this thing measures is that a lot of the increases in weird neurological stuff like autism and dementia and Alzheimer's, these weird neurological developmental diseases, is that they come from the dementia and the Alzheimer's come from lifelong exposure where you get degenerating effects, and that one of the speculations is that autism it's a hyper development of some portions of your brain and an underdevelopment of other portions, and a lot of this occurs like when the child is still in the womb. And so there are phone apps, there are like sonogram phone apps where you turn on your phone and you scan your baby with it, and the dosage that you're exposing a entirely vulnerable human to, like the bones aren't thick enough to provide any RF shielding, there's no calcium there. There's speculation that some of those the increases in those neurological diseases are due to RF exposure in utero. So anyway, it's not something that you need to live your life in fear of. It's something that there are tools to quantify and there are tools to mitigate. And so you can take control of your environment should you choose to.
Don't use Bluetooth devices to listen to your baby when it's just born.
Right. Yeah.
Baby monitors.
Baby monitors are awful. We have a video where we measured the output of baby monitors. They are crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Put your baby in a crib near where you sleep. That's a better way to go.
That works.
That reduces SIDS too. Sudden infant death syndrome is the rates of SIDS when the baby sleeps with the mother or very near the mother is so close to zero. It's crazy compared to the baby sleeping in another room.
Yep. That's just a fact.
It's just a fact.
And mamas need to be with their babies. What's up with that anyway? I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably a spiritual aspect to that.
Mm-hmm. Come on. Oh, man. Okay. We'll talk about it more, too, maybe in one of our AI series. Because, I mean, you've got a lot of knowledge. You could go on and on and on. And I don't think people understand how prevalent it is. We've got a friend of the show that's wanting to get them. That monitor is actually the one I want to give to this guy that's been wanting one, but it's been in development. That particular monitor's pretty new, right?
It's pretty new. This came out in March or April, and this is the first revision. They haven't quite yet sold out, but they kind of have. They're on the precipice of being sold out, and we're doing a revision. And I want to get you some samples out of the next revision. But demand for these has been way higher than we thought it was going to be, which is a neat problem to have. But yeah, I don't have a bunch of samples to sprinkle around yet.
Right. Well, and one of his thoughts and concerns was, we got to have laptops with Wi-Fi for all the kids in school. So just got another thing where you got a kid in school for 7 hours straight with little Wi-Fi receptors all around him going bzz, bzz, bzz. And then he goes home and does his homework on it. And then he goes back to school and does it. And then he plays his video games on. I mean, it's just nonstop. I mean, we're going to find out someday, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're going to find out. Wireless controllers sitting in your lap are like not a great idea for young boys.
If and you want to have insurance. Yep. That's crazy.
But not something to be powerless about. There's like, we make these tools. There's a cheaper one. This one retails for like $370 US. There's another one that retails for like $149, $159.
Oh snap! Hang on.
Oh yeah, you got one.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Comes with a nice little handy case too.
It
But
does.
it's the smaller one.
It's the little
So
guy. Yep.
it's a safe living, easy pocket thing. Oh, of course, you don't
But
have
the
to have
difference,
the sound on,
right?
obviously.
So yours is flashing red because you're streaming over Wi-Fi, and mine
Right.
is green. Mine is green because I'm streaming over. Here's the green light. Right, derp here.
Yeah.
Right there. There's the green light because I am streaming over a wired Ethernet connection.
And I'm actually using the my hotspot for my computer because we don't have wired internet
Oh, right, the phone. Of course.
out here in the boonies. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you can listen to it, she's going crazy.
Yep.
I'm literally dying, giving my life for Patriots Lament.
Right.
But this one doesn't have the numbers and everything on it, but it does the exact same thing.
Same thing.
The effect of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
My
Each
girls
one of the
had
little.
a fun
Each one
time
of the
using it.
lights. Each one of the lights is an order of magnitude of measurement. So like this is 1 to 10, and then this next light is 10 to 100, and then 100 to 1,000, and then 1,000 to 10,000. And then when it starts flashing, it's over 10,000.
Was I flashing?
Yeah, you were.
Oh yeah,
You were.
you're dying.
There's another trick you could play, which is a really long tethering cable, and you put your phone by the window. That makes a huge difference.
Oh, that makes sense.
It makes a big difference. Yeah.
Well,
Like,
you know what? Yeah, I should do that. I could have this in my room because it'll go a long ways.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't need to have it right, but I'm using it for my Bible too, so I need to get a different one. But yeah.
Oh yes. Yep.
And if people are wondering, Dave and I are using the I want to show this real quick.
The ESV app right here.
Yes. ESV
I got it on
app.
my. There it is.
As do I. It's an excellent Bible app, and you can actually, if you use the voice on it, whoops, you can turn it up, and oh yeah.
I have been found by those who did not seek me. I have shown myself to those who did not ask for me. But of Israel, he says, all day long I have held out my hands to a disobedient and contrary people.
Yeah, the guy's really easy to listen to. It's not like you're going, I'm gonna die if I gotta listen to this one more time. So yeah, it'll keep going until it stops. You can start it wherever you want. It's really neat.
That's really cool. I've never played with that.
It's really neat. Yeah, I've been using it in preparation for. Can't tell, but I have been listening to it in preparation for our show.
All right, let's dive through 11 here.
Oh yeah, we are. We got a massive storm coming here. This is cool.
Yeah, you guys. I saw some rain in your forecast.
Yeah, next 10 days, thunderstorms and rain. Oh, bring me some fires, baby. Yeah. All right. Yeah. 11. The remnant of Israel. Yeah. It's good. Paul's jumping back to, so he's discussed who God's people are. Abraham, he's discussed Moses, he's discussed everything through there, down through the ages. And now he's asking, I ask then, has God rejected his people? By no means. Now, this is where people go, well, it says right there that everything you said just here 15 minutes ago is a lie because God didn't reject his people. And he says, I myself am an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, a member of the tribe of Benjamin. God has not rejected his people whom he foreknew. Do you not know what the scriptures say of Elijah? how he appeals to God against Israel. Lord, they've killed your prophets. They've demolished your altars. I alone am left. They seek my life. But what is God's reply to him? I've kept myself 7,000 men who did not bow to the knee who have not bowed to the knee of Baal. So too, the present time there is a remnant chosen by grace. But if it is by grace, it is no longer on the basis of works. Otherwise, grace would no longer be grace. What then? Israel failed to obtain what it was seeking. The elect obtained it, but the rest were hardened. It is written, God gave them a spirit of stupor, eyes that would not see, ears that would not hear, down to this very day. And David says, let their table become a snare and a trap, a stumbling block and a retribution for them. Let their eyes be darkened so they cannot see, and bend their backs forever. Bum, bum, bum. So God hasn't forgotten Israel. They forgot him. But he's at the right time plucking out his remnant. Isaiah's job. You want to hit the next one with how we are grafted in?
Gentiles grafted in, sure. So Romans 11:11. So I ask, did they stumble in order that they might fall? By no means. Rather, through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles, so as to make Israel jealous. Now, if their trespass means riches for the world, and if their failure means riches for the Gentiles, how much more will their full inclusion mean? This is kind of cool because he's saying this is another case of God using something that looks like a punishment or something, or in some sense is unfair, and it actually ends up being a blessing for everybody, not just who it was originally for, you could say. Yeah. Okay, 13. Now I am speaking to you, Gentiles. Inasmuch then as I am an apostle to the Gentiles, I magnify my ministry in order somehow to make my fellow Jews jealous, and thus save some of them. For if their rejection means the reconciliation of the world, what will their acceptance mean but life from the dead? If the dough offered as first fruits is holy, so is the whole lump. And if the root is holy, so are the branches. We'll keep going.
Yeah.
11:17. But if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in among the others, and now share in the nourishing root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant towards the branches. If you are, remember, it is not you who support the root, but the root that supports you. Then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. That is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief. But you stand fast through faith. So do not become proud, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, neither will he spare you. Note then the kindness and the severity of God. Severity towards those who have fallen, but God's kindness to you, provided you continue in his kindness. Otherwise, you too will be cut off. And even they, if they do not continue in their unbelief, will be grafted in, for God has the power to graft them in again. For if you are cut off from what is by nature a wild olive tree, and grafted, contrary to nature, into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these, the natural branches, be grafted back into their own olive tree? So I want to talk about that in relation to the modern church. One thing that I've had this conversation now with a number of the people at the Mennonite church I've started going to, and with Natalie and a few other people. I think we've had this conversation as well, which is that in many ways, the modern church in the West, in particular, let's say the evangelical church in America, is sort of indistinguishable from the temple during Christ's time. They treat Christianity as something that they have and they hold the keys to. It's like, here's a box. We have a box that says church on it, and we have the key. And if you want access, you have to come and we'll unlock it for you and show you in, which is basically the same thing as the temple in Christ's time. And this whole passage, in particular, Romans 11:17 through 24, is saying that it's by grace that you've been grafted onto the tree, and you didn't make the roots form. You were invited in out of kindness. And if you forget that, just as quickly as you were grafted in, you will be removed from the tree, and someone else will be grafted in. And that's sort of what's going on. Natalie and I see that going on right now. With the Jordan Peterson thing that's kind of going on. There's all sorts of secular atheist type folks who are coming to an understanding of the Bible through folks like Peterson, and they're finding their way to an understanding of Christ and the way of being of Christ without the church being involved at all. And the church is busy saying, well, they're not real Christians because they haven't come and sat in my building. They don't give us 10% of their income. They've never been baptized. You see this on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. People are like, well, is Jordan Peterson really a Christian? And are people who follow the way of Christ but haven't been baptized, aren't they still going to hell? And it's just like, man, like, did you guys learn anything from the story of the Pharisees? Apparently not.
Do they take communion?
Yeah, right. Yeah, perfect. Right.
Man, that's a great analogy, David. I like that. Absolutely. I mean, not even just that's right now.
It's right now.
That's
and
right
it's the
now.
same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's living in unbelief. I mean, it's not so because go back to where we started in Romans. What was proof of the belief, proof of the faith, the works. That was the proof. And if there's no proof of faith through the works, then it's kind of like the fig tree. It's a withered tree. It doesn't bear fruit. It's worthless. And then not only that, it's going to be cut off. And we'll graft somebody in here that's worthy to be grafted back on. Worthy through Christ, of course. But yeah, that's good. That's where I get real butthurt about warmonger churches. It's just like, I can't decide someone's eternal fate. I don't know how you can be a Christian and a warmonger. I don't see any compatibility to it. And churches preach it. Churches get up. Pastors stand up and go, well, all the servicemen in here of our great country stand up so we can give them a round of applause. Ah, huzzah, huzzah. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance while we're at it. Let's pledge our allegiance to an earthly kingdom. How can you do that? You can't serve two masters. We saw that earlier. You love the one and hate the other. You can't love both of them. And you certainly can't pledge your life to both of them. Well, it says under God. Oh, geez, it's just unbelievable. I don't know. Doesn't the Bible say not to pledge yourself to anything because you can't say how long you're going to live? You don't even know the numbers. You don't know the number of your days. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. So how can you pledge yourself? Don't do it. Every morning, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Some churches every Sunday, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Let's stand for the Star Spangled Banner. We'll have the military honor guard bring it down the aisle here so we can give our true allegiance, can't serve them bulls. It's just disgusting. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about. The grafts, oh yeah, you're grafted on, we can cut it off. And guess what? It's a lot easier to put a natural branch back on than an unnatural branch.
Yeah, and a lot of those, the irony of it, maybe it's not even irony, I don't know. It's interesting being at a lot of those churches because they are, and by interesting, I mean, I find it extraordinarily uncomfortable and I don't enjoy it at all. But there's often the question of like, well, where did everybody go? How come our numbers are shrinking? Or how come we're not reaching, the lost? And the conclusion that a lot of those churches reach is, well, they're all damned. So let's just lock the doors and wait for, the end times to play out. And everyone outside our doors is going to burn in hell because we got it right and they didn't. And it's astounding. It just floors me. It's just crazy. And then it's fun to see, like one of Greg Boyd's stories about his church in St. Paul, Minnesota, there is that he, say 15 years ago or something, he came to the conclusion you just talked about, Josh, that like you can only you're either serving God or you're serving Satan. That's it. That's all you got. Those are the only two. Mm-hmm. And so he did the political purge on his church. They got rid of all the flags. They got rid of all the stuff, and they started just talking about the kingdom of God. And like, boom, like half the people left, just like gone. And he had a real rough period of, I don't know, the better part of a year. It wasn't tremendously long, but it was long enough to be challenging. And then this movement started happening. And it's just been crazy. Like the congregation there has grown more than he could have ever imagined, which wasn't what he was going for. He just set out to do the right thing. And there's a bunch of little churches like that. There's a bunch of stories like that happening. And I don't want to single them out. The predominantly evangelical political churches are all busy telling everybody why they're going to hell in their ever shrinking congregations where the Spirit's not moving anymore and they can't figure out why. And it's like, it's rough. It's tough to watch.
Well, they spend a lot of time making sure Trump gets elected again.
Yeah, they do.
That's important.
Very.
That's important.
Yeah, and complaining about, well, the needs in our communities will be tremendous if a bunch of, if there's a bunch of immigrants or poor people in our community, well, it'll just be an awful place to live. It's like, that's your job. Your job is to go and help them. That's your job. That's like your only friggin' job. That's it.
Yeah.
And if they're not in your community, if your community has no one in need, your job is to go to a community that is in need. That's your job.
Preach it, brother. Come on. I'm about ready to jump up and do some hallelujahs here. Come on. You're right. Absolutely. I'm not making fun. I'm serious. That's your job. It's the only job we have, and it's through Genesis all the way through Revelation, over and over and over and over. What is your job? Over and over. Why were they punished? Over and over and over. In their plenty, they didn't help the poor. In their plenty, they didn't help the poor. Why did Paul even say it? So, even Paul was like, hey, when you have plenty, give to your brothers that have little. So in their little, they will have more and they can get through life better. And then, likewise, when you have little, they will be able to give back. It's not some socialist, communist little faction thing. It's using your brain. Hey, guess what? These things are reciprocal. And guess what? Doesn't matter if it is or not. It's the only job you have here on earth. You are the seed. You're the light. If the salt loses its saltiness, what good is it? Toss it out and trample it. I mean, there's some harsh convictions on that. This isn't just a game.
There's another the salt thing you mentioned. There's another aspect to it. Natalie and I were talking about this. Salt had. Do you know what salt's primary usage was in Christ's time?
Preserve food.
It had it had a preservative use. It's one of its primary uses was as a binder. If you mix salt, you put salt down on a road to hold water in, right?
Right.
So salt was used as a binder for roads and for clay and for all sorts of things. Salt was what glued things together. And so the salt of the earth is the salt of the earth likely meant that your job is to bind your community together. You're supposed to keep everything glued together. That's your job. It's not to be a special snowflake.
Or a Rambo out in the bushes waiting for the end to come.
Right.
So let's talk about something here with the remnant. Since we're just going, we're not going to just go through this thing and not give our own personal views and opinions. All you folks out there that have your little 72-hour day job, your bags ready to go so you can defend your family from the end of the earth, kill people, rah, rah, rah. And you live out in the boonies or whatever, and you think that you're the remnant, right? We have some friends that live out in the woods because they're the remnant. No, you're not. If you are of a mind to think that you're the remnant, then you're not the remnant. The remnant are the ones that don't know. They're the ones waiting for us to tell them. They're the ones waiting for the seeds to be planted. And God says, we just heard it right here in Israel. Oh, they all know. Yeah, they're lost, but I have my remnant. And when it is time, when the time is right, he will pluck them out. When the time is right, the remnant will hear. So if you think you're the remnant, you're not. You're the one supposed to be speaking to the remnant. So if you're hiding out thinking, I'm the remnant for the end times. No, you're not. It's not your job. If you think you are, then you automatically aren't. If you know what the remnant is, you can't be the remnant because they're the ones waiting to hear the good news. I want to get that off my shoulders. Thank you.
They're the ones who will be grafted in.
Right.
Who will be.
Will be. Yep. When the time was right. When the time is right. Oh man. Let's get in. He says lest you be wise in your own sight, I don't want you to be unaware of this mystery, brothers. A partial hardening has come to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. Now, when I read that, Dave, until the fullness, that seems like to me there is a factor there that there comes a time when it's full. It's finished. Until the fullness of the Gentiles have come in. I don't know if that's true. That's just the way I read it. It's the way I've always thought of it. The fullness of that time. Well, so when there's a fullness, it's capped off. You're done.
And then it says a partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. And in this way, all Israel will be saved, as it is written. So that implies too that the rejection of the invitation is a temporary thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the I think it's Paul who uses the phrase provoke each other to good works.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's like someone extends a really good offer to you and you turn it down. And so somebody else gets the offer. And then when they get it, that you see how good it is. You're like, man, I missed out on that. That was stupid. And then the person who extended you that offer comes back and says, hey, that offer is still available. Actually, it wasn't a limited thing. And the second time around, you go, oh, I want in on that.
Yeah, it's not a limited edition.
It's not a limited edition. Yeah, but you have to see it. You have to see someone else take it to appreciate what it is.
And he's specifically saying he's trying to make them jealous of what they rejected.
Right.
I mean, this is a long process with the Israelites. And we're going way back when he started with these people and came along with them, and they rejected him, but for a purpose. We're reading it right here. The purpose was, I'm going to cut off some of these branches so I can graft on me some Gentiles. And when the Gentiles are full, I'm going to bring me back some Jews. I honestly, I don't know when, obviously, but someday there will be a big turnaround in Israel. Whatever Israel is, I don't know if it's the state of Israel necessarily, because I have my opinions on how that was created. But the Israelites, at some point, are going to have a great awakening of their own. Seems to me like a noticeable, like, whoa, the Jews are coming to the faith big time. And another thing, people, if you got friends that say, well, the Jews don't need Jesus because blah, blah, bull crap. That's Satan talking. Everyone does. Everyone does. So you people are listening to John Hagee. Turn it off. Good night. The guy is speaking. I mean, he is one of the people, and Jesus said, no, your father's the devil. John Hagee and all you other people at TBN.
Well, there's no example. There's no example of how to live without Christ. I mean, you know, even if you wanted to set aside like particular religious differences and talk about, you know, common themes in all religion or whatever, there's no example of how to live at peace with everyone outside of Christ. Yeah. Right? And that's, so when you say, if you say you believe that Christ is the Messiah, what you're saying is, I believe that the best way to live is to live at peace with everyone, which I fail at regularly. And so I'm trying to believe that, let's say. But without Christ, you don't have peace with everyone. You have the law, you have punishment, whether that's under Mosaic law, or whether that's under Sharia law, or whether that's under, you know, the Bhagavad Gita or whatever. You don't have the forgiveness and mercy and message of Christ without the way of being of Christ. They're inseparable from each other.
Yeah. It is the only, for lack of a better term, religion that has this in the way that it does.
In the way that it does. And if you don't believe that living in peace with your fellow man is the best thing you can do with your life, then it's not for you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of people who don't believe that, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But there is no Christianity is the belief that the way of being of Christ is the best way to be personally. And if you don't believe that, that's fine, you know, go and do your thing. But you can't, the belief and the way of being they're the same thing. They're inseparable from each other.
Right. Yeah. That's the difference.
Yep.
That is a difference. Well, we have here where he goes again that just as you were once disobedient, he's talking to the Gentiles, to God, but now receive mercy because of their disobedience, the Jews. So they too have now been disobedient, in order that by the mercy shown to you, they also may receive mercy. For God has consigned all to disobedience, that he may have mercy on all. Oh, the depths of the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God! How unsearchable are his judgments, and how inscrutable his ways. For who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has been his counselor, or who has given a gift to him that he might be repaid? For from him and through him and to him are all things. To him be glory forever. Amen. Was that a passage. What's that passage from? Job. Bingo, banga, bongo. Yeah. Job 15:8. Have you listened to the counsel of God? Do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? And Job again. Yeah.
35:7 and
Yeah.
41:11.
Yep. Job has a little. Oh, and we'll have fun. We do Job someday. He has a little tangle with God. Long time ago. We're talking way back.
Gerard's yeah, that's cool. Gerard's take on Job is that he's one of the first examples to the Israelites. He's one of the first prophetic examples of what Christ would be. He's not, he falls short of all of the echoes of Christ in the Torah fall short of the figure of Christ. They're all imperfect, right? They're all flawed in obvious ways. But Job was the first. He was the first character to suffer punishment, unearned punishment. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
And his friends came along and said, "Well, if you're suffering punishment, you obviously screwed up." And Job said, "No." And then he has his own tussle with God that reveals his own flaws and stuff. God's like, "Well, see, like you're not blameless here," but at the same time, he wasn't suffering because of some inequity or something.
Right.
And it was his commitment. It was his commitment to his faith in God that got him through the suffering, which is similar to the Christ story.
Yeah. Yeah, God was basically telling him, because he was saying, look, I have been unjustly accused. And God's like, I'm God, I can find something wrong. Sit down, because the next few chapters here are going to be about what you were wrong about. It's a great book, though. It's a great interaction. I mean, he gets to talk to God and was bold enough to speak out against God a little bit.
He argued his case.
Yeah.
Jacob sort of did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God, what's that?
I was just going to say, those that put the Lord on trial put themselves on the stand.
For sure. Well, although, yeah, in Jacob's case, of course, that was one of the things God blessed him for.
Yeah. Yeah, God's not all about just sitting up there being mean. I mean, come let us argue. He's all for it. Ask me about my ways. I'll tell you. He's not afraid of nothing. He's good to go.
Setting the example of how to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that takes us to the
Right
end
on.
of Romans 11 and to the beginning of Romans 12.
Oh, snap. I can't say this enough, but I have been looking forward to this.
So we'll have to.
This was really good. This was really, this is a good night.
This was fantastic. This is awesome. We had a really good lead in with a lot of context here, which is super.
Yeah. Yeah, and we could take forever. People go ahead and delve into this stuff on your own a little bit. Just like where we were jumping back with Job there. That's a direct reference. You could go through this on your own and find lots of references throughout the scriptures that he's referencing to, that he's quoting, from the prophets. But it was a big deal. That was a big deal for the Jews, especially when Paul was put on trial by the Pharisees. He said, look, I'm one of you folks. And when he preached, think about this, right? This has gone on a long time. He started from Adam and spoke through the laws of Moses, the Torah, the law, and then he went through Joshua and the judges and all those dudes, and then he goes through all the prophets, and then he goes up to Christ. How long did that take? It's like 53 Bible books, and he's not just speaking the books. He knows it all. He was there for hours going, and then this, and then this, and then this. And the result was Jesus Christ. And he had it down. Because all of them knew, they were all searching for this Christ. All of their teachings and everything was telling them there was a Christ coming. A Savior was coming. And he just laid it all out to say, this is him. This is the one your fathers have been looking for. So, yeah, feel free to research and search and pop some stuff. Why doesn't anyone ever comment on our stuff, man? It really ticks me off.
We got a couple.
Bugs me. I know.
We got a couple. That's probably why we got to get back on the radio.
Yeah, I am itching for that so bad. I feel like I'm itching for it. It's coming.
It's coming.
We got, like Dave was saying at the beginning, we've got some plans coming up. We're not, just the fact, I'm pretty proud. This is like our 4th one in a row on YouTube here. That's amazing. What a commitment that turned out to. Dave Giesel and Josh Bennett actually did something 4 times in a row. What is the world coming to?
We put it on the calendar.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess, do you want to do so next week or hopefully?
Yeah. So we have 3 series going. We got Romans. We have a kind of a political commentary series, and we have a technology series. So next week, we'll probably jump into the technology series again. We have a whole list of guests lined up too, so we're going to begin inviting them. We got 15 or 17 lined up, something like that.
Yeah.
So much to look forward to. I think we're going to close out the series that we have. We want to do 4, 5, 6 episodes. Maybe some of them will just go on forever. But it'll be something different next week, and then we'll probably start bringing some guests on, and we'll probably bring a couple guests on for this Romans series as well.
Yeah, that would be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to get even better. It's already good.
Yeah. So, watch the space. Any updates we'll put on our latest video podcast, and then we're still putting the occasional updates on the blog, which is patriotslament.blogspot.com, and we'll have the patriotslament.com website up, and then everything will go through that. But that's going to be a couple weeks out still.
And if you Instagram, check us out, Patriots Lament on Instagram. There's some random nonsense on there quite occasionally.
For sure. So leave a comment. If you like the video, give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And we will catch you next week, same time.
Yeah, and we're not asking for that for our own edification. It actually, there's things that YouTube uses, the more likes and stuff, broadens us out. They will use us more to get our stuff out there. They'll work for us, basically. That's what it's for.
Yeah, it'll snowball.
Yeah. And it makes us feel good.
Yeah, it does. All right, we will catch you all next week.
Yep. Have a good week, guys. Hola. Wait, that's